you live ECU?
R.
Do you bleed purple and gold? Are you ready to hoist the colors?
Hoist the colors!
It's time for the most in-depth look into the world of ECU athletics. Welcome to Hoist the Colors with your host, Stephen Igo on 94.3 The Game. Watch the show live on Facebook and at 943thegame.com. Here's Stephen Igo.
Welcome in. It is Hoist the Colors on a Thursday. March Madness is officially here, 15 minutes away if you're listening to us live from tip-off in the real first round of the NCAA tournament. The field of 64 is set. And, man, what an exciting time of year for sports fans everywhere. We are going to talk some ECU today. We'll have Dylan Johnson, ECU baseball play-by-play voice, join us for a couple segments. Haven't caught up with him all season, so looking forward to getting his take on the Pirates' uneven start to this point, but a conference play here. It's time to hit their stride, hopefully. We'll get Dylan's take on what he's seen. He's called every game for the Pirate baseball team. But, man, we're going to talk some March Madness to begin the show, and I was just thinking this morning as I was listening to some of the theme music for March Madness, one of the best theme musics, best theme songs in all of sports. Where does it rank? Is it number one? Where does it rank amongst all the great ones? We'll debate that and have our top 5 list right here in this segment. We're going to dive into that here in a couple moments. Philip Pilkinen, he's back in the 94.3 The Game studios. Philip, man, there's nothing like this time of year. The first 4 is great. You know, happy State lost. No offense, Wolfpack fans. Happy Miami, Ohio won last night, proved that they belong. But the real fun begins today.
You know, Stephen, they say when you get older, Christmas morning is not as exciting as when you're a child. And that is true on December the 25th. But Christmas morning just gets moved to the Thursday of the NCAA tournament, baby. I feel just as happy as I did when I was 6 years old on Christmas morning, baby. Let's freaking go.
As I look to my TV in my home studio, I'm seeing the March Madness logo, the bracket, the pregame show. Come on now, man. What a time. And nothing beats this, guys. So before we dive into our top theme songs, because assuredly I would say, without knowing Philip's top 5, that the March Madness CBS theme is going to be up there. You do have your bracket actually filled out, Philip,
yep.
And you had not done it earlier this week. You like to kind of take your time with it. But it's here, and I'm curious, how does it look?
Well, it's interesting. I did not do this on purpose. I was telling you pre-show. I actually have the final 2 teams the same as I had them in 2015 and have the same outcome. And the good thing is for me is in 2015, Duke won the national championship. So maybe, and the Final Four was in Indianapolis. So maybe this is good for me. So I have Duke over Houston in the Final Four. I have Arizona over Iowa State, and then I have Arizona over Duke. So bad news for Arizona fans. They didn't make the Final Four that year. They lost to Wisconsin in the Elite Eight, and Wisconsin went on to beat Duke or beat Kentucky and then lose to Duke. So, yeah. But hey, you know, maybe that works out good for me again.
Moments away from finding out who will Duke play in the second round, assuming they get past Siena. Siena has had some NCAA upsets in the past, not as a 16 seed though. TCU, Ohio State going at it here shortly in the 8-9 game. All right, we'll talk plenty of that throughout the really tomorrow's show and obviously into next week, just the bracket as a whole. But 12:15 tip-off time for that. Let's get into this, and before we just kind of dive into, we'll do my top 5 first. We'll go 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and then Philip's top 5. But just like kind of setting the scene here, you know, as a sports fan, obviously now, but as a kid, like it was just when you hear the music of something, it's synonymous with like moments or just, you know, the time of year, or it just puts you in that mood. And like a perfect theme song just fits, you know, the sport so well. And so it just kind of goes into your brain. Like I have visions of each of my top 5, certain moments of why I kind of have them in my top 5. But I don't know, Philip, like to me, it kind of sounds corny, but I think if you're a true sports fan, you know where we're coming from here.
You do. Look, you know, we talk about with music and as a whole, it takes you back to certain times in your life when it was when whatever was going on, you know, your childhood or whatever, more so than a movie or more so than a television show, music does. So what makes you truthfully feel that connection to that moment that you lived is right after you heard it, and they were going to commercial break, you heard that music, or that game when it started, and they're showing the stadium from the Goodyear blimp, and you hear that music. It's just special. And no, I 100% agree with you. It's not crazy to say that music takes you to those moments.
Well, let's get into it. That way we make sure we got plenty of time to discuss all this. We'll start with my top 5, and what I'll do is I'll say the number. Philip will hit the music, let it run for a few seconds, and then I'll give my thoughts and reasoning why. So let's jump right into it, Philip. We good?
Let's go.
All right, let's hit number 5. And not the current ESPN college football theme song. You heard the drums in there. This is, to me, this is my childhood. This was, I think, started in 2003, 2004, and went all the way to, 3 or 4 years ago?
Yeah.
And they brought in, now, the new theme is okay. It's almost, too powerful. They tried too hard. But this, when I hear this song, I am brought back to 2008 ECU, West Virginia. This song played when Vince McMahon did the intro to the ECU West Virginia game and dropped the infamous "Go Pirates Go," which no ECU fan says, by the way. But it was the greatest lead-in in ECU football history on ESPN, because then the Pirates beat Pat White, West Virginia, 24-3. So I prefer that song compared to the new song. I don't really know why they changed it, but
Yeah, that was one they should have changed. Also, I wonder if was that a tribute to Arnold Schwarzenegger's "Go Chargers Go"? Was that what he was going for?
Yep.
Okay, yeah.
You know, Vince had to do that. All right, number 4. NHL on ESPN. I'm not even an NHL guy, but when I hear that, and this is one of those themes, you hear the beginning and you just know what it is. And for me, Gary Thorne doesn't call NHL on ESPN anymore, but that's who I think about. Gary Thorne talking about, and it's specifically the NHL playoffs. I'll lock into the NHL playoffs, and that theme just lets me know there's about to be an absolute battle on the ice. And I love it, man.
I do miss the Gary Thorne. He was much better at that than he was being the Orioles play-by-play guy.
He was a lot better. I did not love him on baseball. But Gary Thorne, one of the GOATs for sure. All right, number 3. This is the NBA on NBC, which is now back, by the way, with the NBA back on Peacock, NBC. And, man, again, I'm not a huge NBA guy, but that jam, that's just a sports jam. How can you top that? Obviously, any classic NBA playoffs matchup, it kind of brings you back to that. And also just I like the ESPN NBA theme, and I like the TNT NBA theme, but to me, that's just a true sports jam. So there's your number 3 on that front. All right, number 2. March Madness, baby. I mean, not even much needs to be said. I did play that. I took my kids to the store this morning, and I played the whole March Madness song for Slater, and he said he's a huge fan. So I just put it on the hour loop. I didn't listen to it for an hour, but it was on the hour loop.
For the hour loop, I like
channel.
All right, a little preview here. Your number 1 is my number 5, so we will not play it back to back. But I am going to say that this is wrapping up Stevens and beginning mine.
Perfect. All right, number 1. NFL on CBS. Man, the CBS Music Studio does it right. And this is more of a nostalgic pick for me. As a Denver Broncos fan, they're always on CBS. And you know what this brings to mind? Manning, Brady, and just peak Denver Broncos, obviously, in the Manning era. Every time I think about it, I think AFC Championship game. Peyton Manning running onto the field, Tom Brady, Jim Nantz on the call. Nothing beats it. That'll lead you into your 5, Philip.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting, Stephen, when people submit theirs, because our 4th segment is going to be reading off your top 5. Do people go with a CBS or a Fox bias based off, what's more iconic to their team. Like, does
Right.
Lane maybe go with Fox and maybe Jansen go with CBS? I actually did not have Fox on my list. I love it. It's the nostalgia of the Panthers, but just overall, like, no bias in there. Just trying to just do, like, the anthem itself. I don't love the Fox as much as I do the CBS and the other ones on my list, but Fox does mean more to me than the CBS does. So I'll just throw that out there. All right, so my number 5, CBS, and now... Hang on. Sorry. You know what? I might have not actually recorded this one. This might be the one I forgot to record, but luckily I have it pulled up in here.
There you go.
You know what's funny is this as a kid I did not like this music because it meant I had to go to bed on Sunday night and I had to wake up and go to school the next day. But now there's something iconic about Sunday night football. You're about to hear Carrie Underwood. The Sunday night matchup's usually the best matchup of the night or of the week. And man, this one to me, it's special. When I hear that on Thursday night to begin the season, I know the football's here. I love if you can get a snow game with that music. It makes me feel like Christmas time is here. And man, I just love it. The real Christmas, not the Christmas we're celebrating today. But yeah, man, I love Sunday Night Football.
That one was very close to cracking my list because it's not like a classic because it really isn't that old, but it's just so
2005,
good.
right?
Yeah, so it's like it's hard for a newer song like that to kind of make the list, but yeah, it's and it has a classic feel to it, even though it is more modern. So good pick.
Yeah, as you'll learn here, I've got a theme. You can tell football is my favorite sport here. So here we go with my number 3. Nothing's more special than Boomer and Tom Jackson prime time, NFL prime time. I loved it as a kid. It was something that me and my dad shared a lot. Just watching the highlights on Monday Night Football, we loved it. They still play it for Boomer's fastest 2 minutes, and man, it's special. My dad always liked the segment because he's a Broncos fan, Tom Jackson, and then Boomer's great. So yeah.
Yeah, nothing beat watching them again as a kid, like going to bed, recapping the whole day. And all the, any primetime music, man, they had 10 different jams, and I've gone through YouTube and they got to 18 that I never heard. But yeah, any of those songs, big time matchup, and they also have the mediocre matchups, the mid card songs, all those were bangers, man. So yeah, NFL primetime, grade A stuff.
Yeah, man, gotta love it. All right, here's my one non-NFL. It was hard not to put this as number 1 just because we're doing it today, but I had to go through the nostalgia of my entire life year-round. And, Steven, back me up on this. When you watch a game on CBS in the middle of the regular season, like a Big East game, does it, tick you off when they play this music? Because it ticks me off. I don't want to hear this until March Madness starts.
This is 100% a March Madness only song, and I get it. They have to play their CBS theme, but save it. Yeah, they come up with a B version,
Yeah. Stupid. CBS does a damn good job, except for they make up that one mistake. All right, Dylan has signed on, so we need to get to him. So here is my number 1 favorite anthem. I love it. Monday Night Football, baby. Something nostalgia about it. I can't pass up Monday Night Football ever.
And I strongly consider Monday Night Football on my list too, but I feel like they've tweaked it a little bit over the years. But the true Monday Night Football theme, really nothing tops that on the football front. It's just I feel like honestly it's kind of lost some of its luster, Monday Night Football as a whole. So the theme song has as well. But from a nostalgia, just always remembering when you hear the initial notes, Monday Night Football, it's hard to argue with that being at the top.
And it's the most recognizable, right? I think all time, especially amongst our generation. That's the one we all knew as a kid because CBS and Fox, we were young. We're still kind of tweaking them a little bit. Like you said, Sunday Night Football, NBC didn't get Sunday night till 2005. So, it used to be ESPN had Sunday and then ABC had Monday up until then. So, Yeah, I don't know, man. That was just the iconic of my childhood right there.
Awesome stuff, Philip Pilkington. And everybody, if you want to chime in, we'll circle back at the end of the show. What's your top five? Which ones did we miss? I've got some honorable mentions we'll get to as well in our final segment. So drop that in the chat, YouTube, Facebook, or Twitter. But I wanted to have some fun as we get March Madness right now, TCU, Ohio State. But let's get a break in. We're going to talk some Pirate baseball next. Dylan Johnson joins us, the ECU baseball play-by-play voice. He's called every game this year. We'll get his take on the season to this point after this.
You know what the problem is with standard belts? Usually you have to choose between too tight or the opposite, too loose. But with Anson Belt and Buckle, you don't have to choose. We got rid of the holes and instead have a track system designed for micro-adjustability. That way you can enjoy a perfect fit every time. Anson Belt and Buckle. Find your perfect fit today.
Healthwise Pharmacy rounds the bases with all of your infusion, retail, compounding, and medical equipment needs. Locally owned and operated by pharmacist Marcy Parker, Healthwise has grown to be your most trusted provider for infusion services. Currently providing in-home or on-site infusions in North Carolina, South Carolina, and Virginia. Visit Healthwise Pharmacy at 615B South Memorial Drive or call 252-295-0059 to speak to a patient service representative to find the option that best suits your needs.
The best burgers around. Everyone loves a thick, juicy, and fresh burger. Tiebreakers does real burgers better than anybody. And don't forget about the cheese sticks, fresh salads, and more. So don't just go to any burger-themed restaurant chain. It's time to break the chain and eat local. Tiebreakers, burgers and sports at its best.
Go Pirates! Arg!
In this age of globalization, we've learned that bigger isn't always better. Ever tried to get phone help from a big corporation from a real person? Right. That's what's so nice about Phelps Chevrolet. After more than 50 years serving our community, Phelps remains family-owned and operated. Mike, Daryl, Wave, West, Allen, and Clay deliver hometown service and integrity, same as always. They share your experience, they share your values, and they are ready to help with any motoring need. Come get you one.
Daughtridge Gas and Oil has been your dependable propane supplier for 95 years. Their trained technicians can service and properly install all your propane and natural gas appliances. Plus, Daughtridge Gas and Oil is your backyard expert with fire pits, grills, smokers, and more, including quality outdoor furniture at their Greenville Patio and Hearth Shop at 1901 Charles Boulevard. Go by and see the knowledgeable staff at Daughtridge Gas and Oil for propane delivery or call 756-1345.
You have a choice when you invest in insurance, and when you choose First State Insurance Advisors, you're working with people you can trust. Clark Stallings has deep ties in the community. His team, including Keaton Smith, Regina Asby, Phil Leyva, Max Joyner Jr., Max Joyner III, and Ginger Smith, provides knowledgeable and professional advice. First State Insurance Advisors is an independent insurance agency. They offer all types of personal insurance as well as various types for business. Call or email First State Insurance Advisors.
Every ECU fan's one stop for all things ECU athletics. This is Hoist the Colors with Stephen Igo on 94.3 The Game.
All right, welcome back in. Hoist the Colors on a Thursday. We just talked our top 5 sports themes, and the beauty is in the eye of the beholder. So if you got a different top 5, drop it in the chat. We'll get to it over the course of our show, specifically our last segment. We'll kind of react to everybody's comments. We got a lot of them. Let's talk some ECU baseball right now, though. We've got Dylan Johnson, ECU baseball play-by-play voice. He joins us via video. Dylan, on this Thursday, getting ready for the conference series opener against UAB. We'll get into that. But, Dylan, first off, welcome back. Secondly, glad you have some working Wi-Fi where you're located, unlike William & Mary.
Yeah, thanks for having me back on again this year, Stephen. But this should hopefully go a lot better than Plumery Park. That was an adventure. I felt bad for ECU fans because, people already felt the way they felt about no video stream, and then got a slow start there on the audio as well. So, but I definitely wanted to shout out, the couple of guys there who helped us out, Jay Colley and Pete Clausen, because it was kind of not a huge concern at first until we're like literally 15 minutes, 20 minutes from first pitch. And then, Jay's the voice of the tribe for like 45 years now. Pete's their associate AD for comms and stuff. So once they kind of found out about it, they're like, this is not acceptable. Let's get you helped out here. And so they were a big help. But that was a first.
Glad you got to at least to get on the air. You had to broadcast with the first inning or so through your phone, and that was interesting to say the least. I tell you what, you've been now obviously doing this going on close to a year and a half. First off, how much have you grown as in this role? We'll talk about that first, and then the experience of going on the road to some of these venues. We're kind of spoiled at ECU when it comes to college baseball. A lot of people don't realize that. We're spoiled. We're treated well as media, fans as well. A lot of these road places don't have great venues. So just those two things, as you've kind of grown in this role.
Yeah, I think this year I've really settled into the role. I feel comfortable. Things are definitely coming easier to me. Specifically like coming out of school for some things, you're taught more on the side of like how you're supposed to do it if you're doing on ESPN Plus, for example. So you're kind of that unbiased down the line type of broadcaster. So getting used to being the voice of a specific school's program like ECU. So kind of knowing when to lean into, we're talking to the Pirate Nation. Coach O and I are certainly rooting for ECU and we're fans of the program and kind of understanding it's okay to let that show, bring that energy and enthusiasm when the Pirates are doing good, because that's what we want to see. That's what everybody wants to see. We are without a doubt spoiled at Clark LeClaire Stadium on a regular basis in a lot of ways, but certainly from our broadcast setup specifically, you go to some other venues oftentimes with schools like Campbell or an Elon or even a UNCW, you're kind of sharing press box space. The William and Mary situation wasn't ideal. You could hear in the background of our broadcast the William and Mary broadcast going on because we were, 5 or 6 feet away from each other. Then there's, you go to UAB last year. I'm outside in the bleachers under a tent for the entire weekend, kind of, again, 5-6 feet away from the fans there. And I imagine the same thing will be the case with, what I've heard going to schools like UTSA and FAU this year.
Yeah, I was going to say, make sure you bring your sunblock from May 14th through 16th in Boca. Scott Rogers, Scooter, has let us know that he got severely sunburned during that series. So you got some time. That's the good news. The bad news is it's probably going to be pretty hot come mid-May in Boca. So pros and cons there.
Yeah, and well, that's one thing, if you can't obviously tell, that Scooter and I have in common is our skin complexion. Does not go well with that. I burn like the second I step out of the house from the months of like May through August. So I will be fully equipped and prepared for that.
Hey, I'm right there with you, my friend. All right, let's talk ECU baseball. 13-8-1, 22 games in, Dylan, and it's been, I've kind of used the word like there's been no real like fulfillment at times coming out of a week because the Pirates haven't had a perfect week to this point, but it's not like they have a whole lot of bad losses either. It's kind of been an interesting start, up and down. We've seen really, really good highs. We've seen some low lows. So what do you kind of make of this start for the Pirates?
I mean, I think you're right on the head with it there, but we've seen a higher ceiling for sure, I would say, on one end with this team compared to last year's team. So, you have some differences, losing 2 of 3 to Xavier as opposed to you took 2 of 3 from George Mason in the series opener last year. But on the flip side, you've got wins over North Carolina and a tie, which I know you love. And then you've got the big win over Coastal Carolina too. And you played them once again really close. So you dropped 2 of 3 with Coastal just like last year, but you split the 3-game series with North Carolina, which last year was a sweep. So I think that we've seen this team show a higher ceiling. The pitching, without a doubt, has been the strength of the team and has improved from last season. And in college baseball, that can take you a really long way. So I think that despite some of the lows here, the team has a long way to go to kind of recapture the groove that we saw at the end of last season. And with more talent on the team, a higher ceiling, I think that they can take it a little further than they did last year too, if they kind of catch that momentum.
Let's hit on some of the highs and some of the highlights at this point, Dylan. Gavin Van Kempen, I feel like we have to start there. And I knew coming in, like, he was talented. I did not expect him to pitch this well. And, it is only 5 starts, but, man, he has been dominant. 1.69 ERA, 43 strikeouts against 5 walks in 26.2 innings. And, like, obviously we can get into, Norby being a little up and down in the Friday roll. But Van Kempen, he's been pretty special to watch.
Yeah, for ECU, for what has been talked about with Ethan Norby compared to, the expectations going into the year, which is a whole different thing. But when you're able to roll out GVK on Saturday and his numbers this year are pretty comparable to like a Jason DeCaro from Carolina, that's really good to be able to do. He obviously was a very talented arm coming from West Virginia, as evidenced by the fact that he was put in the Saturday slot right out of the gate to start the season. But, for a guy who came in with kind of question marks around being able to get deep in games during his West Virginia career, kind of see an order a third time through, he's been better each time out he comes out to the mound. And it just, you can tell, before games when I'm down there in the dugout, kind of on the field, chatting with Cliff, chatting with AK and some of the guys, but I'm also able to kind of see how the players are handling themselves. And last couple times on a Saturday that I've been down there, and VK just looks completely relaxed, calm, like as a guy who's pitching as well as he is should be looking out there. So his last 2 starts, obviously, we know the run support hasn't been there, which is just a really odd thing. But his numbers over those 2 starts: 13 innings, like 25 strikeouts, only 3 walks. Against, a really good Coastal Carolina lineup the first time around there. And then against Penn, he followed it up with an even better. So he set a career high in strikeouts each of his last 3 times out. I don't know how much more up he can go from here, but the guy has been absolutely dominant.
And I asked Cliff Godwin on Monday, do you consider flip-flopping Ethan Norby and Gavin Van Kempen? He said it's too early for that. So what do you think, Dylan? Like, and I, the numbers on Norby are interesting because he struck out 32 in 22 innings and he's walked only 8, but then he's hit 8 guys and he's given up, 4 homers and a 306 batting average against. Cliff said it kind of comes back to fastball command, but where do you stand on, if he continues to be uneven, do you think they flip him at any point, or is this something that they're going to give Norby a lot of time to try to figure it out?
I think Ethan Norby is going to have time. I mean, in my almost year and a half here, how many times have I heard Cliff Godwin say that, he worries about a lot of things, but Ethan Norby is not one of the things he worries about. And so that's kind of the feel that I'm still getting to this point, is that they are not worried about Ethan Norby. I don't think they would make a change anytime soon here and kind of mess with what's been working for Gavin Van Kempen or, Sean Jenkins with the type of roles these guys have. That I think that they'll want to keep that where it's at, and Norby will get a long time to figure this out. Now, I say that now, if I think that he kind of continued at this pace for another 3-4 starts, and we're getting towards the end of the season, and that's a much larger sample size, then I have no idea if the coaching staff would kind of reassess at that time. But as of right now, I mean, I don't see them making a change anytime soon or being any kind of worried with Ethan Norby. I mean, you mentioned 32 strikeouts. He's kind of right there with like Sean Jenkins in that number. So he's still missing bats at an elite clip. The hit by pitch numbers are high there, but with Ethan Norby, kind of again compared to the expectations going into the year, it's working against him because the guy still gives you a chance to win. Every time out, he's on the mound. So just because his numbers have been a little bit lower than last year to this point, it kind of gives fans cause for concern, but I don't see it from the coaching staff.
Visit with Dylan Johnson, ECU baseball play-by-play voice, and we'll see who takes the Sunday role this weekend. Dylan, I asked Cliff after Tuesday's 4-3 win over Elon if they had any updates on Weber. He said they were still waiting on the MRI. Now, I would assume by the weekend they'll have some results, but I would just be surprised if he pitched at all, for a while. Just given the nature of the injury, we'll see what it is. But, we kind of discussed on the Bucks on the Pond podcast, and Philip and I have talked about it. Do you go into Sunday just TBA and see how the first 2 days, kind of break out? Do you have a starter there? What's kind of your gut feel on, on that. We know Cliff is not shy about going TBA if needed.
Yeah, that's exactly what my gut feeling would tell me is going to be the case, is a TBA, and that way you kind of have the flexibility there going into Sunday to see how did the first two games go and which arms did you have to use going into the final day of the weekend, and kind of let that dictate the plan from there. But you've certainly got good options if he didn't want to go the TBA option, or Brett Antolik obviously comes to mind, who a guy who they've already been saying has looked better in a starter type of role than in a late inning reliever to this point, just coming back from long wait from injury, and then was minimally used when he was at Texas A&M before that anyway. So I certainly think he's a guy, Nick Moran, although the shoulder tightness there that Cliff mentioned after Tuesday's game, not sure where he'll be at, but he's a guy with a ton of starter experience. Ryan Towers has kind of locked down the Tuesday starter role the last 2 weeks and has done really good there. So, that's a question too. Do you want to keep Ryan Towers in a strong spot with what he's been doing in the midweeks, which are still very important for ECU, because you've still got a couple with NC State and Duke coming the rest of the way, UNC Wilmington again at home in your midweek. So that's still very important. You don't want to not pay attention to that. But is he a guy who at some point can kind of flip into that Sunday starter role? So as of right now, I would expect to see it as TBA, although I certainly don't know for sure what decisions and conversations they're doing with it. But I think you've got options for it. Brett Antolik kind of first among those, in my opinion.
All right, let's get a break in. We'll come back. Johnson after this. We'll talk some ECU position players, the hitting, the defense, and also look ahead to the UAB series to open conference play this weekend. We will be right back.
This is about you, your family, and the health of all who live in Eastern North Carolina. This is about the transformation of a health system into something more powerful and more human, about creating new ways to treat disease and keep you well. This is about ECU Health, which is to say, it's really all about you. ECU Health. Minds, hearts, purpose.
You have a choice when you invest in insurance, and when you choose First State Insurance Advisors, you're working with people you can trust. Clark Stallings has deep ties in the community. His team, including Keaton Smith, Regina Asby, Phil Leyva, Max Joyner Jr., Max Joyner III, and Ginger Smith, provides knowledgeable and professional advice. First State Insurance Advisors is an independent insurance agency. They offer all types of personal insurance as well as various types for business. Call or email First State Insurance Advisors today. We want to be your trusted choice agency.
Acre Station Meat Farm, along with Lane Angus Beef, bring you Farm to Fork Beef.
Stock your freezers now with affordable beef boxes, just in time for the grilling season.
Farm to Fork Beef brings quality local beef to your family. From your traditional butcher shop, Acre Station Meat Farm. Come on down to Acre Station Meat Farm and find out why we're #1 in fresh cuts and friendly service.
Acre Station Meat Farm, Highway 32 North, Pinetown. At National Finance, we're all about hometown support, just like ECU football. National Finance helps us win on and off the field. They've got your back when you need it most. Fast, easy personal loans for life's big plays. And just like us, they're committed to Eastern North Carolina. National Finance, proud supporters of ECU athletics. Visit nfcmoney.com for loans as fast as today.
Make every day electric on the Kawasaki Electro 20 electric balance bike. Maximize the fun with long run times, impressive top speed, and Kawasaki build quality. Easy adjustability and smooth handling make everyday riding more enjoyable. And the standard MTB type tires provide off-pavement capability. The Kawasaki Electro 20 is the electric balance bike that's built to rip. Go to Ron Ayers Motorsports, Memorial Drive north of the airport, Greenville.
hoist the sail.
Climb aboard as we set sail and hoist the colors.
Ahoy, me hearties.
Back to Steve and Igo on 94.3 The Game.
Welcome back in segment 3 here. Hoist the colors. We're talking ECU baseball now. We've got Dylan Johnson, ECU baseball play-by-play voice, joining us. First time this season, checking in with Dylan. We'll get him on at least every few weeks the rest of the way. And always good to catch up with him. He's covering every game, even the games that we can't see, like William and Mary, and calling the action there. But Dylan, we talked a lot of pitching and just overall season to this point in our first segment. We'll get into UAB here in a minute and what to expect this weekend. But let's hit on some of the position player standouts. You know, we're now, 22, 23 games in, and what have you seen from a lineup standpoint that has really impressed you covering the Pirates to this point?
I think the depth that we talked about, heard a lot about in the preseason has shown itself, and they've needed it, like Cliff Godwin said, with, Jack Vogley now going down, Jack Herring hopefully not out for too many games here, and sounds like it's kind of going to be a better case scenario with his injury. And then, Alex Peltier, who will basically have been unavailable at the plate and in the field for the entire season. So they've needed it. But even with all that, they've still got seven different guys hitting over 300 right now. I mean, Braden Burris is just absolutely a pleasure to watch. Coach O and I talk all the time about trying to kind of appreciate it while it's here, because when he's gone, he's definitely going to be one of those guys that's mentioned in the Cliff Godwin era as just was one of the more special players to watch on a day in and day out basis. So he's been on base every game this year, hitting 410 again. He's had a multi-hit game in half of the games, 11 out of 22 this year. So it's easy to take it for granted sometimes, but try not to, because Braden Burris is so fun to watch. But then, you got Matt Lashley, who has provided more impact at the plate offensively than I think anybody, fans, media, all of us have expected him to bring, as we knew he was kind of a defensive first guy. But, he just puts together really good at-bats just about every time up there. And for a while, teams were shifting him, and even Coach O was not entirely sure why they were, because he hits so much to the backside, uses all fields really well. Irby's hitting well and has been consistent this year. Colby Wallace is really coming on strong. He's got a 10-game hit streak and has kind of been quietly raising his average, now hitting 338, and been doing a lot of that for a while now from the bottom of the lineup. So I wonder if he might be a candidate at some point to be moved up to kind of the middle, 5 or 6 spot, or if they want to leave him where he's at, where it's been working, because he and Walker Barron, who's another guy who's, above 370 on the year, and having them in the 8 and 9 spots for a long time now has been a really big impact for ECU, because now you've got the bottom of the order. Coach O and I've seen so many times this year where they start rallies and you're rolling right back up to the top with Burris and Lashley, and then they're able to kind of finish things off for you. Davin Whitaker has been kind of a revelation as of late there. Kind of been more consistent this year than we've seen from him in the past, which has been great. And I think now in his third year in the program, he's somebody who's a little bit more vocal and kind of takes a step forward as a leader at times. I know Jack Herring and Braden Burris are kind of the two of the main guys who lead the way in that, but we've seen Davin going back to that Penn series, the extra inning win, but the one inning Cliff mentioned where he and Carlos Hakame, he kind of told them, it's you and me, Carlos, and we're going to get things started. And that's when he hit the game-tying home run. So he's been nice to have. And then Jack Herring's obviously kind of, from the start of the year, really led the way. I mean, just got off to a scorching hot start at the plate, dipped a little for a while, but he still is providing the kind of home run and RBI power numbers for a team that, what we've seen this year is a lot of hits, a lot of on-base pressure against opposing pitchers. They walk, they get hit by pitch more than any other team in the conference. They get a lot of hits, more doubles than anybody as well. So I know a lot's been made about the lack of the home run numbers, but this is a team that hits line drives to all sides of the field. And kind of what's been a barometer for this team this year as well has been 2-out hitting with runners on base. When they got off to kind of the slow start, there was a lot made about the stat of hitting with runners in scoring position. And then as the offense has really got rolling and was, putting up video game numbers last week, that was a stat that just kept jumping out. Was, a couple games there they had double-digit 2-out hits against teams. And they're putting together a lot of innings where all or most of the runs are coming with 2 outs in an inning, which is really just, Cliff Godwin Pirate baseball. And so I think that they've been really digging into that lately, and it's working.
Carlos Hakame has gotten it going lately, Dylan, and we had high expectations for him coming in. I think he was pressing a little bit early, but obviously with Jack, even if he's back this weekend, it might just be in a DH role, so you would assume Carlos may stay at second, Burrs in the outfield. How important is it to get him going? Vocal's out right now, so that's another right-handed bat that's not there, and it feels like they are a little lefty-heavy, unless Carlos is in there hitting. So his emergence key for the Pirates, right?
Very much so, yeah. And this is somebody who, we all know hit above 300 in the American last year at South Florida. So there's no question that he's capable of it. It's not a matter of making, a D2 to G1 jump or a JUCO to D1 jump. It's a guy that is capable of it. So makes you even more confident that he was just somebody who was pressing early on in the year. But now as of late, you hear him talk about it since he's kind of been reemerging in the lineup over the last couple of weeks. He's a lot more aggressive. He swings early in counts and gets good swings off a lot of the time. So 2 doubles on Tuesday against Elon was a great sight. He's actually kind of quietly put together a lot of extra base hits out of his hits. He's had a couple home runs, a kind of walk-off of sorts against ODU for the run rule win, and a lot of doubles he's had this year. So if you're able to have him there, not only helps you out in that second base spot where he's primarily been when he's been in the lineup, but then helps you in other places too, because Braden Burris, who can play anywhere on the diamond, is able to go out to left field or right field or wherever you need him, and he's a strong bat at top of the lineup. So really having Carlos Hakame going is not only beneficial to where he's at in the lineup, but really kind of helps the Pirates depth-wise everywhere in the outfield corner spots too.
Conference play begins this weekend. It'll be UAB in town, 3-game set. They had to come back to beat Alabama A&M, but got the win midweek-wise. They're 13-8. And Dylan, looking at some of their numbers, they are extremely offensive. They've hit 40 home runs as a team. Obviously, ECU still in the teens as home runs, and they have John Paul Head, who's hit 12 bombs by himself. Now, he did not play on Wednesday, so I'm curious, or Tuesday I think it was. I'm curious to see what his status is for this weekend. He didn't play against Alabama A&M. But pitching-wise, they have a 6.9 ERA, and they're allowing opponents to hit .315 against them. So I'm curious to see how this matchup kind of plays out, because UAB seems really offensive, not great on the mound. And we know ECU has not hit for much power but can pitch. So just kind of your take on what could be a contrast in styles.
Yeah, contrast is a perfect word for it. And, I think ECU, it kind of works out advantageously for the Pirates here, because you look at UAB's pitching, they don't walk a lot, they don't hit a ton of batters, they don't strike a ton of batters out either. So they're going to be in the zone, but they give up a lot of hits and runs, especially compared to the Pirate pitching staff. So the opportunities are going to be there for the hitters. They're going to be in the strike zone. So if ECU can take advantage, put pressure on them, get a lot of guys on base, and keep, driving the ball into the gaps and racking up extra base hits, a lot of doubles, then that'll work out well for ECU. And then kind of on the flip side with ECU's pitching versus UAB's offense, I mean, they're kind of a boom or bust team there. So they're the polar opposite of, we make a lot about the 40 home runs compared to ECU's 18, but the Pirates also are at the top of the conference for doubles. UAB's at the bottom. So it's just a matter of they've lifted the ball a little bit more and have gotten it over the wall more often than ECU. But, they're also a team that strikes out at such a higher clip. ECU just practically doesn't strike out at all, so much further below the rest of the American in that category. So that plays out well for our pitchers who strike out a ton of batters and don't walk a lot of people this year, which has been great to see. So I think kind of keeping people off base and keeping that not crowded will be important for our pitchers this weekend, because without a doubt, judging by the numbers, and we all know on any given day the way the wind can blow in Clark LeClaire, how many times we've seen already this year where a routine fly ball gets pushed over the wall. So I think without a doubt UAB is going to put a couple over the fence this weekend, but if you can have guys not on base and let those be solo home runs instead of 2 and 3 home runs, then I think that'll play out really good for ECU.
Final thing for you, Dylan. UAB this weekend, then Pirates go to UTSA Charlotte at home, at Tulane, and Wichita looks like they can score runs. So the conference looking better, and I feel like this start to the schedule is not easy. And so just how important is it to get off to a good start, hopefully at least win the series this weekend, and, try to make a run of this thing, because UTSA and obviously Charlotte and Lumen, they look pretty good.
Yeah, it's going to kind of mimic ECU's schedule as a whole in the non-conference too, where you had some of your best shots right out the gate. You had Carolina second weekend of the year, and then a couple weeks later, Coastal Carolina. So the conference slate mimics that a little bit here. So for ECU, your toughest tests are coming first, and you've got an opportunity to kind of build a gap between you and the other teams in this league here. And I know it's especially important for these Pirates as well, because where we've talked about the offense can at times either is rolling on all cylinders or can kind of deflate a little bit and go quiet for a few innings. So similarly with team success here, just imagine how big of a deal will be for the guys to be able to see themselves near the top of the standings, kind of already think we've gotten by, the UTSAs and Charlottes early in the first 3 weekends, and taking 2 of 3 or sweeping those weekends would be a big deal for them. So, but the American is without a doubt kind of pulling its weight more this year, right up there, with the Sun Belt in terms of best non-Power 4 conferences, for whatever that means. I've heard you guys talk about it a lot there, and certainly a lot to be debated on that, but the American's been stronger this year. A lot of teams are pulling their weight there. So South Florida's been really good. UTSA has been in the rankings, and, they've beaten teams like Coastal Carolina earlier this year. UAB beat Florida, which, Pirate fans are happy about for a lot more than just the American looking good in that win. Wichita State's got a good record, but that's kind of been a house of cards a little bit schedule-wise to this point in the year. But I see South Florida, Charlotte, maybe an FAU as some teams that'll kind of hang around the middle of the pack, and they're dangerous. If you kind of lose focus and go in there thinking it's going to be easy, they might steal a couple off of you. But no doubt those weekends with UTSA and Charlotte are going to be really important. And, it all starts with this weekend against UAB. So ECU got out to a 6-0 start in conference last year, kind of playing the, bottom half of the teams. Memphis and Rice got a cushy start to the conference slate last year, so now it kind of flips on them. But if ECU can get out to a 5-1 or even 4-2 start over the first couple of weekends here, I think it'll be good for the team's confidence. And we've all seen they play well when everybody's feeling confident.
He is Dylan Johnson, play-by-play voice, ECU baseball. Check him out this weekend on the call, 94.3 The Game with Coach O for the UAB series. Dylan, we appreciate it, man. We'll get you back on here in a week or two to recap how conference play is looking. But thanks for the time, man.
Absolutely. Thanks, Stephen.
That's Dylan Johnson, play-by-play voice for ECU baseball. All right, we'll get our final break in. We'll come back. We'll react to your take on top 5 sports themed songs with March Madness here. We'll get into that and more to wrap up the show after this.
Get ready to bring on the savings at Greenville Toyota with major deals on brand new Toyotas like a Camry, $229 a month, or RAV4, $279 a month. Now's your turn to save at Greenville Toyota.
Daughtridge Gas and Oil has been your dependable propane supplier for 95 years. Their trained technicians can service and properly install all your propane and natural gas appliances. Plus, Daughtridge Gas and Oil is your backyard expert with fire pits, grills, smokers, and more, including quality outdoor furniture at their Greenville Patio and Hearth Shop at 1901 Charles Boulevard. Go by and see the knowledgeable staff at Daughtridge Gas and Oil for propane delivery or call 756-1345.
Other restaurants claim their food is fresh and fast, but are they friendly? At Moore's, you're treated like family the minute you walk into their doors. With locations in Winterville, New Bern, Swansboro, Morehead City, and Jacksonville. We've been practicing what we preach since 1945. At Moore's, our barbecue is slow-cooked and smoked over real wood daily until it's so tender it's falling off the bone. Combined with our fresh chicken, cooked-to-order seafood, and homemade fixins, we're sure you'll agree. If it's not Moore's, it's less.
Your confidence makes everything look good. You see the world in vivid color, not black and white. Swing through your neighborhood Fantastic Sam's cut in color. And let our experienced stylist take you from everyday to extraordinary.
Fantastic Sam's hair salons are locally owned and operated. Our full-service salons are conveniently located in Goldsboro, Kinston, Greenville, New Bern, Jacksonville, and Calabash. Stop in today at Fantastic Sam's, where the possibilities are endless.
Your future is full of possibilities, and Pitt Community College can help you explore every option. You can earn a degree, learn a trade, transfer to a university, or launch a new career. We offer the support you need to succeed with flexible schedules, affordable tuition, and programs designed for the real world. Your path, your future, your college. Pitt Community College. Register now.
Bring on the savings with new Toyotas from $159 a month at Greenville Toyota. Get huge discounts like Corolla's $159 a month or Tacoma's $249 a month. Save today at Greenville Toyota, where our volume saves you
Like
money.
all pirates, Stephen Igo is loyal and bold. He may also have a touch of scurvy. Back to Hoist the Colors on 94.3 The Game.
Welcome back in. Hoist the Colors on a Thursday. March Madness underway. TCU leading Ohio State 24-20 in the 8-9 game in Greenville, South Carolina. So that's ongoing now. Also, Troy off to a 9-6 lead over Nebraska in the 13-4 game. I wanted to get back to our discussion. We got some in the chat. Our top 5 list for the best theme songs in sports, and got a lot of comments here from different fans. Tim Smith weighing in saying the ABC's Wild World of Sports with Jim McKay. Yeah, I was reading the list. That's one of the classics. Hunter Corbett had his top 5. The Masters, number 5. Fox NFL 4. NBA Round Ball Rock 3, which is the NBC theme. And he's got that 2. Monday Night Football is 4. I missed that. March Madness is his first.
I should have put the
Scott
Masters.
Warbacker.
I totally didn't think about the Masters.
Yeah. See, the Masters, to me, I've considered it, but it's like, I don't know, like it puts me in a mood, but it doesn't get my blood pumping.
That's true. It's a
You know,
different,
it's like
it
almost
more
like
mellows
low-key.
you out. Yeah.
Yeah. It's more like, all right, now I'm ready to sit down on my couch and just relax.
Fair enough.
But if you're like a golf guy, like the Masters has to be top 5. And John Moody says I've got to give some love to the NASCAR on Fox theme. Well, you're a NASCAR guy, so where are you out on the NASCAR music? I figured you'd have one of those up there.
Yeah, no, that one is good, and I do like it. It's one of those things too where it hasn't 100% been consistent. Like the Truck Series has like the old school NASCAR on Fox thing, which I really like that. Still, I mean, I like the new one solid, but still, there's never been a nostalgia thing with me in NASCAR when it comes to the music specifically. They don't play it as much coming in and out of breaks either. You have to like catch it at the beginning of the broadcast. So I don't think you hear it as often as you do, like, you know, the other sports.
Scott Lorbatcher in the chat says his 5th is Monday Night Football, 4th is Masters. NFL Films, 3rd. I mean, NFL Films, you could go almost any direction. They are definitely up there. Baseball Tonight, number 2, and March Madness, number 1. Yeah, Baseball Tonight, I mean, that was part of my childhood, too. I remember going to every travel ball tournament, like from age 10 through 14, just watching Baseball Tonight in the hotels with my buddies, catching up on all the baseball. And the in-game updates, like, man, nothing beat that. Carl Rabbits, Kruk, Buster Olney, Tim Kirchin, like, man.
That was nostalgia. Yeah.
Old Sports Center theme, too. Nobody had that, but, like, the true Sports Center theme, same type of deal.
No.
Yep.
Yeah.
Nothing beat that. Scott also with an honorable mention for International Harvester, the official song of ECU baseball. So, some other ones we missed that I considered. It's the SEC on CBS theme song, but technically just the college football on CBS theme song because now they play it for the Big Ten. That one's a good one as well. And I'll tell you a really underrated one. MLB on TBS, like the playoffs.
Yeah.
Like I didn't even think about that until I was listening. That one's like low key good. But any others that we missed that you want to point out?
I can't think of any. The last list you read off of 5, there was one on that list that I was like, oh yeah, I wanted to cut. Well, who was the last person you read off?
Scott Lorbatcher, Monday Night Football Masters, NFL Films.
Oh, NFL
Baseball
Films.
tonight.
Yeah, I thought about NFL Films. Actually, listen, the problem is there's technically a couple different anthems with NFL Films, but I know which one he's talking about, the main one, but I definitely consider that one as well.
Any NFL Films documentary is, between the camera work and the music, it's
and the dude who does the voiceover.
Oh, yeah.
The tough terrain of the Steelers defense.
The frozen tundra at Lambeau Field. That's probably terrible. One.
Mine was bad too.
Nothing beats the good stuff, man. We're just getting old, and it's all becoming nostalgia. But hey, it's still epic. All right, we got to get out of here. This has been a fun show. Thanks again to Dylan Johnson, ECU Baseball play-by-play voice. We'll try to get him more involved in the show now with ECU Baseball ramping up conference play. Everybody have fun watching March Madness. Again, the games are underway. We'll react to what's happened on Friday's show. Bobby Harvard will join us. We'll maybe get his take on the top 5 theme songs for sports. And he's always very opinionated and very cultured, so we'll get his take on that. But appreciate everybody listening today. We'll have more spring football talk tomorrow as well. We've got to be out there for practice in the morning, so we'll have that too on Friday's show. We'll see you then on Hoist the Colors.